Hello travelers. In this video, we're talking about the Montauk Project. If you guys don't know about this, I pull up the first picture. It basically is I feel like it's where Stranger Things got the idea for their whole show. So let's go into this thing. Basically, it's a Air Force base that they did weird experiments on children, actually, to test like mind control, and they claimed it was for telepathy. But let's go into this. The Montauk Project is a conspiracy theory that alleges there were a series of United States government projects conducted at Camp Hero, or Montauk Air Force Base Station in Montauk, New York, for the purpose of developing psychological warfare techniques and exotic research, including time travel. It connects to the USS Eldridge story that I talked about in videos back, about this boat in 1943 that supposedly had like these generators. It was an experiment that the crew didn't sign up for or know about, but they were involved in, supposedly, and they went through time. So this all sounds crazy, but we will see what's so crazy. And it was Preston Nichols, this guy we're looking at, this creepy motherfucker, was pretty much the dude that was working. He was a head guy on this, and they were evaluating people. They're basically hooking these abducted kids up, or like runaway orphan kids, and experimenting on them to the point where it's very fucking disturbing, actually. So let's look at this thing. And it's still here. It's like it's an abandoned site, supposedly. Hopefully it's fucking abandoned. Stories about the Montauk Project have circulated since the early 1980s. According to the UFO researcher Jex Vele, the Montauk Project experiment stories seem to have originated with the highly questionable account of Preston Nichols, that creepy guy I just showed you, who both claim to have recovered repressed memories of their own involvement. Preston Nichols also claims he was periodically abducted. Sorry, it's early, guys. Periodically abducted to continue his participation against his will. Nichols, born May 24th, 1946, on Long Island, New York, claims to have degrees in parapsychology, psychology, and electrical engineering. That's a hell of a fucking combo for this project. And he has written a series of books known as the Montauk Project series, along with Peter Moon, whose real name is Vincent Barbaric. Well, that's a fucking jump from Peter Moon. The primary topic of the Montauk Project concerns the alleged activities of Montauk Point. These center on the topics including United States government and military experiments in fields such as time travel, teleportation, mind control, contact with extraterrestrial life, and staging fake Apollo moon landings, framed as developments which followed the 1943 Philadelphia experiment, which is that huge boat ripping through time, baby. Huh. Yeah, there's just so much on this place. It's crazy. The work has been characterized as fiction, which means fake, but we'll see, because the entire account was fabricated by Preston Nichols and to some extent Stuart Swerdlow, who has consistently been shown to contradict his own backstory, and does appear as if Swerdlow just wanted to become famous in the New Age community and establish a reputation for himself. And that's it. That's all that fucking says on that. Jesus. That's pretty messed up. They always debunk it, or they find a way, you know. This guy is a creepo. He would lure people. They would abduct kids, man. Yeah, they would literally. This looks very modern. This is a new camera, right? And supposedly this guy, he found about this because he was getting signals, right, and an interference, but it led back to this satellite. And he couldn't do anything about it because it's an Air Force base. Like, what the fuck is he going to do? But then as time went on, he realized he was in on this, and there's like gaps in time. Like, he lived a double life before. It's really fucking weird. But everyone in this area, like animals, they claim that deer, certain animals were running into town and just slamming themselves into like those like big sliding glass windows, just running up like fucking Bambi and slamming themselves into it, because this thing was giving off frequencies, or like whatever you want to call it, and it was mind controlling not just the people they're experimenting on, but the surrounding area it was affecting. And people obviously have explored this. They've tried to like debunk it so many times, being like, oh, these are people are, you know, degenerates, or they're they're looking for something to believe, you know? And it really goes back to the Stranger Things, because everyone knows Stranger Things now, and this is really what it reminds me of, because they even claimed, like, they're ripping holes in time through different dimensions and bringing in fucking beasts and shit. So let's keep going. Oh, this creepy motherfucker. Look at him. Look at him. Yeah, he looks real happy, doesn't he? Look like a nice guy. He's not a nice guy, guys. He abducts fucking children, and he plugs them up. But worse than that, actually, I don't think that it is worse than that, but he would lure people to his little fucking bus, like by his shitty old house or whatever, and he would have all these generators set up. He'd bring, like, it's written that he would bring mostly kids or young men in there, like boys, like young fucking boys, and then he would turn on this generator or whatever, this thing, and it would take over their minds and obviously put these kids in like a stasis or something fucking creepy, and he would sexually take advantage of them because they said he would come out of the trailer all sweaty and the boys looked scared and confused. So basically that's what happened, and he wasn't alone on this. Duncan Cameron is another guy that came up on this pretty good. Look, there he is. There's Duncan with his head down and ashamed. This guy's no fucking shame, right? Duncan. There you are, buddy. It's hard to find clear pictures of these. Sorry, guys. The story of Duncan Cameron Jr. is a confusing one. According to the authors of the book The Montauk Project, Duncan was a sailor aboard the USS Eldridge. So supposedly he was on that fucking boat in 1943 that zipped through time, but somehow ended up over here in the fucking 70s in this thing. So it's like, it's like fucking skip and go, you know? It's time travel, guys. The experiment resulted in his being catapulted forward in time to arrive at the Montauk base in 1983. Oh wow, it was 83. Again, Stranger Things. He then became involved in the Montauk Project and was bounced about the time stream before being returned in that is a weird sentence. An attempt to stop the experiment that started it all. To try and explain Duncan's confusing life would probably take another 10 pages. This guy was fucking... 1943, Duncan and his brother Edward were stationed on board the Eldridge. They worked in the control room, housing many of the experimental generators. Supposedly, Duncan and his brother were on this fucking boat, but they jumped off, like, as it was ripping through time, and he ended up in the future, they were saying. Like, he ended up in, like, the future. It was like 2157 or some shit, and they were treating him for radiation, and he supposedly lived in, like, different time periods, like, through this thing. It's fucking crazy, and it sounds nuts. I know, I get it. The first actual experiment conducted on Eldridge took place in 1943. The ship vanished for 15 minutes. Fields created many crewmen nauseous and gave psychological problems to others. A second test was then set up August 12th with the object to obtain radar invisibility and not optical invisibility. According to the authors of the Montauk, 3 UFOs appeared over the ship 6 days before August 12th test. When the test was conducted, one of these UFOs was sucked through the resulting hole in time and space and ended up underground at Montauk Base. Yeah, this fucking base, man. Supposedly, even the kids walking around it, or just like people that would, we'll get into that, don't worry, sure. People that would just walk around this place, you know, there's just manholes, like, throughout however many acres, just fucking manholes that go down and down. And, of course, the government's like, no, this is nothing, you know, it's just an old radio tower building. But it's just fucking creepy, because 20 levels below, 10 or 20 levels down, they're experimenting on 11. Straight up. They're taking, like, fucking kids, hooking them up to these fucking, like, machines. And fucking what? Yeah, just, like... Let's keep going, guys. This is fucking crazy, right? Dr. John von Neumann, creator of computerized mind control, he made the fucking chair. Look at this thing. Utilizing the most successful brainwashing technique ever invented. This chair is an amplification. You might see it in movies as Total Recall. But everything comes from something, right? And pretty sure this chair came from the Montauk Project, right? Right? They made movies about it. The Montauk Chronicles. I found this movie, and look at this. It's so bare. Like a study of dark legends that surround the Camp Hero Air Force Base in Montauk, Long Island. That's it. That's it. They got a bad rating. Of course they made sure it got a bad rating, right? This fucking place. Let's go back to the chair guy. Where is he? The doctor. Dr. von Neumann, John von Neumann, claimed that he could fix the USS Eldridge. There was a, you know, it's in the video before, whatever went wrong with it, he claimed that they could go back and fix it. he knew how to fix it, right? Look at this fucking thing. This is just the idea, right? But it's like this. You sit in it, they hook you up, and it amplifies, like, whatever power. It fucking amplifies it. It's disgusting. It's fucked. And this went on until basically a creature got loose one night. Not this creature, but a big furry creature. They claimed it was like a fucking Bigfoot, basically, or like a fucking werewolf. And it just was killing everybody, running wild, right? And then this thing shows up on the beach. A lot of weird things, guys. A lot of weird things. This is the beast, they called it, that they found that washed up on the shore. It's actually fucking sad. But what it looks like, and what I think it is, you guys can think whatever you want. This is like a dog spliced with something. Spliced with another animal, like a wolf, a boar. This is an experimental animal from Plum Island. Which was, guess what? Right by the fucking satellite base. Right across the street, guys. Right across the street. Actually, across the river, or the water. But Plum Island is an animal disease center that they take all the most fucked up shit and do the most fucked up experiments. Supposedly, like, all these horrible things came from, like, we made Lyme disease, guys. Like, pretty sure we made a lot of the diseases that we claim came from fucking Africa or some shit, and we created them. But yeah, this island, I don't want to get too far off topic, but it's connected to what we're talking about, so let's get off topic, right? These fucking chairs. People go in these places and they explore them. And if it was a real government facility, they were saying they would have cleared it out, but it just looks like a mess, like something ravaged through it, hence the beast. The beast. Let's talk about the doc again. He had the idea, and again, there's a lot to say on this. I'm sorry. This guy, Duncan Cameron, he's like from the past, and he's living in the future. It's fucking weird. And this fucking guy, they both, like, as time went on, they remembered their time in this building. Like, they knew where to go. Like, they're subconscious because they were there before, supposedly, right? Duncan. Dr. Von Neumann. I got a lot of pictures on this guy. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. Oh my god. Found by members of the Montauk Project. The two brothers were then escorted, Duncan and his brother, into one of the buildings on the base. There he met Dr. John Newman, the man who had been behind many aspects of the Montauk Project since 1943. He informed them that he had been waiting for the two to appear, and Duncan and Edward needed to return to 1943 to turn off the generators and end the experiment being conducted on the USS Eldridge. Both Duncan and Edward agreed to this plan, making a number of time trips for the Montauk researchers before returning for good in 1943. Finally, the brothers reappeared on the Eldridge and managed to shut off the generators, mainly by smashing transmitters and cutting cables they could find. Just before the Eldridge returned to its proper place in time, Duncan went back through the time portal and returned to Montauk in 1983. It's unknown why he did so, although it suggested that he may have been programmed to. Again, the mind control thing. We're looking at a lot of stuff, and this mind control thing keeps coming back, where they can basically just send a frequency in your brain, make you do something that you're not even aware of, and you fucking do it, but it looks like you're the person doing it. It's mind control, guys. It's fucking creepy. Duncan found himself severed from the time stream. I get, supposedly from jumping through time so much, there's always a consequence, right? And the consequence for him was he grew old at a fantastic rate and began to die from the effects of extreme aging. Like when he came back for 1983 after jumping, he literally like aged like in 10 fucking minutes. He aged probably like 40 or 60 years or some shit. Using unspecific techniques, the Montauk scientists managed to save Duncan by transferring his mind, again, Jesus, to a new body. This new body was attained through the help of Duncan Cameron Sr., the father of Duncan Jr. and Edward. They put his elder mind into his baby body. How fucking great. That's a fucking movie. Using a time portal, Montauk personally contacted Duncan Sr. in 1947, informing him their need to save his son's life. The solution was Duncan Sr. to have another son. Wow. Another son. So he's like, get to making babies. Imagine if somebody pulls you over or like grabs you in 1950. It's like, hey, Duncan Sr. It's like, who the fuck are you? He's like, you need to make more baby boys, right? That's fucking creepy. That's scary. Meanwhile, Edward remained with the Eldridge. A final test was run with the ship in October of 1943. This experiment used the unmanned vessel with all controls located on the secondary ship. What? Fucking creepy, man. But what I'm getting out of this is they did a lot of fucked up experiments, mainly on like kids and orphans or runaways or people that basically nobody cared about. Now they'll use like poor people or bums, people that are off the grid, you know, that don't have like families to watch out for them. They'll just take them. Edward's final fate may have been even more bizarre than his brother's. He was apparently put through a series of age regression procedures that reduced him to the age of a small infant. He was then sent to live with a Balick family to replace their baby boy who had recently died. Holy shit. Given the name of Al Balick. It's like, yeah, just pretend he's your kid, but he's really this fucking 80-year-old man that ran through time and space on these projects. He grew up ignorant of his true past until certain events in the late 1980s triggered his memories. He now devotes his time to researching the Philadelphia experiment in an attempt to uncover the truth. Wow. How does this fit? Yeah, for some reason, the Philadelphia experiment just lines up with this Montauk Project, man. It's really creepy. Duncan should be used not as a master villain, but more as a tool of a villain, or a villainous agency. He can act as a spy, move troops to distant places, control minds, especially of troublesome officials and enemy agents, and harass the enemies of the agency from the safety of his Montauk chair. Ugh, he certainly shouldn't be the mastermind behind the entire operation. That role should be given to someone more sinister, like Preston. Someone with more of a megalomaniac. Is that a Green Day album? Megalomaniac? Duncan seems to come across as less than self-assured individual. If Duncan is used as a member of villainous corporation or agency such as Viper or PSI, it would probably be best for him to have some strong measure of loyalty to that organization, unless his eventual defection is an important part of the Game Master's plot. Yeah, Duncan's special because they try to mind control him, but he was aware of the programming, so he was able to fight the program like as he was being taken control. He's like, I know I'm in the Matrix, basically. Like, Jesus Christ. Physically, Duncan shouldn't be a superhuman out of the chair. He should have unusual psychic powers like telekinesis and stuff, but these should be more like the psychic effects first described in Pulp Hero, not the typical full-blown abilities given to most comic book mentalists. However, in the chair, Duncan's psychic abilities should be devastating. What? What the hell is this? I'm gonna have to link this, guys. This is crazy. Below, I present a possible character sheet for Duncan Cameron. A great deal of attention is given to his powers, while less detail is given for his history and personality, since these elements of the character are very GM dependent. I'm gonna link this because in my link in the details, there's this page, and it has all these things like expanded perceptions, his powers and skills, expanded willpower, expanded perception, the seeing eye, mental scanning, radar frequency modulation, thought projection, mood alteration, psychokinesis, thought reading, mental programming, space-time warping, beast from the ID, creation of solid objects. Oh my god, this is all stuff you could do in the chair. Supposedly they could like reanimate objects, like just create shit. Expanded willpower, psychometry, aura vision, sensitive mental awareness. This is like a sheet where they were like documenting his fucking powers. Total powers and skill cost 377. Total cost 475. This is like fucking Warcraft. What is this? This is crazy. I'm linking this page for you guys just so you can see this sheet I'm looking at. What the fuck, man? This fucking chair. And these poor kids, man. There's like people that are just like walking around this site that found the fucking sewer drain holes, and supposedly it led like all over this estate and to other, supposedly these tunnels like connect to other facilities in the country. Really creepy, and I'm probably gonna have to do another video on this because I feel like there's stuff I missed because there's just so much, like it keeps spiraling into a more fucked up story. Thanks for coming along on the ride, guys. Oh my god, Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring a ding ding my bell, baby. And I will see you guys in the next video.